Welcome to Brightly, You Radiant Being, the show that wildly recognizes, encourages, and invests in the radiance we all carry so you can shine your brightest. Each episode, we share soul driven advice and topics to help you live more brightly in mind, body, and spirit. Through sharing our experiences, friendship, and passions, we hope to impact you to step more brightly into yourself, inch by inch.
Hello, Tracy.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
Doing well, doing very well. Had a very productive day.
A humble brag.
Not even humble, just a brag.
Just a brag. I love it. Own it.
Yeah. So last time we were talking about leaps of faith, joyful leaps of faith, and just like trusting yourself, being able to trust yourself. And I feel like did you say you had something about that?
Yeah, kind of. So sometimes on this show, you give me a lot of credit for being really confident in my choices and taking leaps of faith and just boldly, bravely going where I've never been before, which I do. I do that in very specific situations and areas of life. What I held back in the last episode was being able to trust your own intuition when maybe the leap of faith you want to take is more dependent on an external thing, like whether or not somebody else you likes you, or somebody else choosing you for the job, right? Like you've done all that you can, you did the interview, and now you're just kind of waiting and hoping, or even like, should I interview for this thing, and like maybe you've done the work and you're still not sure. And so you're like, hey, universe, give me a sign.
Oh, you never do that. I never do that.
Amy, when I was thinking about what I want to talk about for this episode, the immediate thing that came to my mind was, I don't know if you remember, but there was a day where I asked the universe for a numerical sign, which I do often. And it's the same numbers. It shouldn't be that hard for the universe to do this. I mean, come on. So I drove the whole way home.
Throwing shade at the universe.
Throwing shade at it. And you'll see why. So I was on my way home and I get to my neighborhood and I text you, hey, Amy, I asked for this sign. I just happened to miss it. I'm considering just driving around the neighborhood until I see. Just looking. I think I even texted you, hey, did you know trash cans have numbers on them? I think I'm just going to drive around the block again. And you told me, you were just like, go home. Yes. Go home right now. And just in my head, I was like, no, I think if I'm just one more block, I think I'll see the sign. I think the universe is telling me to turn right and not left because the universe is trying to talk to me to reinforce this crazy thing in my head that I think should happen. Or even lately, I mean, I know we do tarot card pulls on our social media. We used to do them on the show. General tarot card readings I see all over social media now. And a general reading is where they talk about how it's for the collective. And if it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, it's just for another Virgo. It's just for another person. But when they're sitting there telling you that your crush or your ex absolutely loves you back and you are just both, working on yourself, and then this will come and they miss you and they look at your pictures and they think you're witty. And of course you're going to be like, I resonate with this. She posted this. The universe made me sit and look at TikTok, which I wouldn't have done before. No, not me, not ever. Specifically so I could see this message. And not at all, nothing to do with artificial intelligence, knowing that these videos are going to get me to watch them, are going to get me to click like, subscribe, watch, scroll through. The universe is showing me a sign, Amy. This man that doesn't talk to me, he absolutely is in love with me. Of course he likes me back. This job that doesn't even know I exist. Yeah, they are in need of my services, and they are they're waiting for me specifically, and they are going to not take up any other applicants until I apply because it's predestined. It's manifest destiny, right? So So we talk about signs in the show, and we've asked for signs, and we've even used it in our life, and we both fully believe and act upon, trusting your intuition or utilizing your intuition.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to talk about today, there's a difference between being the sign and looking for a sign in your life. And that sometimes maybe when you're looking for a sign, the signs that you see are maybe confirmation bias. Maybe you already knew what you wanted. So I don't know. So I just want to talk to you, like, when you're asking for signs or you're needing a sign in your life, whether it's a leap of faith or just a day-to-day thing, or, like, hey, I just want to feel trusted and supported right now. Mm-hmm. Like, why do you look for a sign, and how do you know whether or not you can trust it is a sign versus you just deciding it's a sign?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like, why do I look for a sign? And I think for me, apparently, I don't trust myself enough to just say, this is what I really want to do, and I'm going to do this thing. No, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing, and there's a little bit of a struggle in it. So universe, and we've talked about this on a previous show a while ago. This was like the biggest signiest sign that ever did sign. I said, okay, if I'm supposed to be doing this, show me a fox. I was just like, show me a fox, God, universe, whatever. And I'm walking. Now, granted, I'm walking to a park, but it's a park in the middle of like busy roads and all kinds of houses and stuff like that.
And it's not like you knew a family of foxes lived there and that you were most likely, you didn't ask for a sign, you knew you were going to get. Yeah.
No, not at all. And so walking to the park, and as I'm walking, I'm like, shit, I've asked to see a fox. I'm not going to see a fox. What the hell? Like, why would I ask to see a fox? Now I'm never going to see it, and I'm not going to get confirmation. And then I continued the argument with myself and said, no, you have to play by the rules. You said, show me a fox, because what's a fox to God? I mean, God, if God wants to show you a fox, God's going to show you a fox. Continue on my walk to the park, get to the park, crest the hill, down towards the bottom of the hill. There's a fox. There's a fox just sitting there, and it looks at me, and then it just kind of walks away, like doesn't run. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. So that was like this enormous sign. And I still didn't quite, even at that point, be like, yes, I was like, wow, thank you. That's great. Thank you for that sign. And did I double down on what I was doing? Did I like really focus in on what I was doing that I had asked confirmation for? No, I didn't.
But, I mean, here's the biggest difference between your, hey, show me a fox, and my like, well, maybe if I take another lap around the block, is we both asked for a sign. Mm-hmm. And then I started looking for it. So it's kind of like that thing I talk about. I keep forgetting the name of it. But it's like when you're like, I'm going to buy a burnt orange Chevy Equinox. And then all of a sudden you see that's the only car you see on the road, and you talk yourself out of getting it because you're like, well, everybody has it. And then you talk to your friend and they're like, I don't even know what kind of car that is. I've never seen that in my life. And you're like, are you kidding me? I see it everywhere. Right. So I think there's a big difference between asking for a sign and looking for it. Like, you even tried to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So I had a similar situation where the other day I started seeing my particular sign all over in all sorts of ways. And I was just like really down on myself and was like, you're looking for it. Like, you're noticing it because you're looking for it. Stop it. It doesn't mean anything. Get out of your head. Like, this isn't a sign. Like, just stop it. This is not what this means. And then I pull into the busiest parking lot. And directly across from me is not only the numbers, but 3 letters that I also associate with those numbers on the license plate together, which I never see. And I was like, all right, universe, I'm going to agree that, this right now is a sign, but it's like a sign that you talk to me. It's not a sign that the thing in my head is going to happen. And like when I see it the rest of today, I'm just going to keep getting mad at you and I'm not going to trust it. So please stop showing it to me today. And then the next day when I didn't see it at all, I was like, well, universe, like if you would only just show me a sign. So when I look for a sign, or when I ask for a sign, like right now, this particular one is because actions, behaviors, experiences, events in my life feel incongruent with
Okay.
my intuition and with a deep inner knowing and with prior experiences. So not quite being gaslit, but just more along the lines of like, I feel like the signs that I'm repetitively giving or being given is like, don't lose hope. Keep living your life, but no, you're not crazy. Maintain hope. Don't lose hope that this could happen. But also like, don't plan your life around it and like go actively seeking tarot card readers and other things of divination or like friends who are just going to continue to positively reinforce a delusion. Right. So I think there's a kind of, and then the other reason I ask for signs, for some things like you were talking about, like, I'm all in, I'm ready to go, but there's just like this little piece of me that is still like, is this right? Should I? Doesn't mean what I think it means. So for
Right.
me, in those moments, it's more like, universe, we're in this together. Like I know I have free will and I know my choices like create my destiny, but like, we cool? Like I'm gonna do it. Or are we all in? Are we jumping in hand? Or are you gonna like have me have a Saturn return and completely blow up my life? Because I'm willing to pass on this one. But so something I forgot to share this with you earlier. So yesterday, in this giant shrub that I have between mine and my neighbor's house, I kind of saw movement in it. And I was like, oh, I bet I'm going to see the tomcat that's been leaving me little birds as presents this winter. But like, I don't usually see him during the day. Like, I wonder what he looks like because I haven't seen our usual toms around lately. And then out pops a fox.
What?
He walks up my front steps. I'll send you the video. But like for me, I was like, well, this isn't a sign because I didn't ask for a sign.
No, it absolutely is a sign.
No,
Oh,
wait,
okay.
wait. It's symbol. So there's also a difference between signs and symbols. So sometimes when you see things in your life, it's a symbol of something to come. Like one time something left me a present of a rabbit that was missing something north of its neck. And my initial reaction was like, who in the mob did I piss off? Like who is single white femaling me? Like what's going on? And then I was like, oh, is this an omen? Is this bad?
Oh, so you went from sign, symbols. No. Omen. I like that. Okay.
And then I did some Googling and thankfully it wasn't as bad as I thought, but then there were definitely two different frames of thought for what this symbol could mean. And I chose the positive one. I was like, this is what this means. And same with the fox. The fox could mean a multitude of things. And I was like, well, it's either just a really cool situation and even better, I caught it on camera, but it could also be a symbol. Because what are the odds that I would have left my office, got a water, and decided to sit by it and pet my cat on the couch in that moment, right? Like it's not like I usually hang out right there during the day.
Right.
But yeah, so what kind of signs are you looking for in life? Like maybe you're not making a decision. Maybe it's not like one of those moments where it's like, well, what's a fox to God? But like, do you look for signs regularly?
So I feel like I am open to seeing signs regularly. And because of that, and because I understand certain things about seeing certain things, that sound is just as vague as it could be. But because I understand, like, it is really cool to see 333, 1111, a hawk suddenly flying out of one of your trees as you're writing the show notes for, leap of faith. And then here's this hawk that flies by and I'm like, oh, bravery. Okay. Thank you.
But also
Thanks.
like I said, like that shows a sign that the universe is like, sup, I support you, girl. Like
See,
thanks for doing this work.
that's how I take it. So when things like that happen, because my one experience was with the fox was not my last experience with the fox. And the second time I didn't ask to see a fox, but the fox was there and the fox actually pursued me, not in a scary way, like almost like a dog wagging its tail, wanting to see what I was doing, like was coming up to me. And that I took like the universe was like, yeah, what up? How's that working for you? How, are you doing the work you were supposed to be doing? But so
Remember
when
you invited me into your life and then discounted me?
exactly. Like, I will not be ignored. So I agree with you. When I see things like that, it's just like high five, universe, high five.
Yeah, because for me, there's so my birthday and one of my sister's birthdays is really similar. And like maybe a decade ago, we just went through a period of time where we were both seeing each other's dates on the clock and like not telling each other, but like we were both like living this and just thinking of the other person in the moment. But then I like traveled internationally and was still catching it on the clock. I traveled to the West Coast, like I was changing time zones and still morning and AM catching it on the clock every single time.
Wow.
Sleep deprived or what I was doing. And so I started screen grabbing them on my phone and sending them to her. And so then now, because it became a thing, or like we'll text each other when it happens, like we see our own and each other's. And it like was just a thing for a while that we were sending back and forth and like seeing everywhere. And it's in addresses and license plates and all this stuff. But I was like trying to assign meaning to it, like now I know I'm recognizing it because it became a thing for us, right? Whereas at first it was just like, oh, that's okay, that's cool, okay, that's happening a lot, that's weird. And then now it's like 7:24, I gotta tell her, like and so what we decided, and like I think I even talked to an intuitive about it, is it's just like that person's vibing high, and you're connected, like that.
Nice.
Like, hey, are you vibing high right now? And she's like, no. I was like, well, future you is, and she says hi. So now when I see it, instead of being like, oh, that's a sign, it's just like a warm fuzzy moment.
I love that. And I think that it also, because goodness sakes, if everything was a sign, like we would be busy and not knowing which way to go, right? I mean,
it'd be constant equations writing on our walls, just never talking to another person. Just everything is, what does it mean? And don't mean anything, you guys. Like we're just bumping around in life.
Exactly. And don't forget to live your life. And yeah.
So I love that. So don't forget to live your life. So when you are saying things like, just give me a sign, or I need a sign, I feel like the majority of time it's like one of these things, and feel free to add more. You're at a crossroads, you're feeling unfulfilled, you're heartbroken, you're waiting, you're avoiding, you don't know what to do. You have decision fatigue, you're scared, you're feeling like you lack bravery and courage, you're avoiding conflict.
All of the above.
So like, to me, that just screams like, I want support, right? Like, and then I also want something to blame if it goes wrong.
I never thought of that part. It's like,
do you ever accept the sign when it means the opposite of what you wanted? So like back to those tarot card readings, and they're saying, like, let's say you are actually resonating and vibing with it, but like the outcome of it is like, they're not your person, it's not your thing, it's not your job, like go do something else. And then suddenly you're like, oh, that wasn't my sign. Right? Like do you ever, like, let's say you didn't see a fox that day, would that have changed?
That's a really good question, because I wonder if I just would have asked for it again the next day. Like, would I just continue to ask for it, when actually just ask yourself, at what point do you ask yourself,
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
What point do you ask yourself? I love that. So Amy did tarot card readings for other people a little bit ago, right? Like as you
Yes.
were learning and establishing, you
Mhm.
were soliciting people for people, or a lot of people to solicit you for readings. And I am challenged to do that with other people, though I've been told to. And I think I've brought this up when you've shared some of the questions you've gotten or how you've had to reframe the questions for people. But
Mhm.
a lot of the questions is like, does my ex still love me? Is he cheating on me? Is this happening? You know,
Yes.
like many are relationship based, or many of the
Yes.
signs I feel like are relationship based because it is that external action that you're lacking, right? And that you, no matter what you do, you can't control what another person's going to do. And just every time I hear somebody ask a tarot question, I'm just like, you know.
I feel like the question is the answer. The fact that you have to ask if they still love you, that's your answer.
Right?
No.
You have to ask the universe for a sign. Does this person like me? Do they still like me?
I mean, I think sometimes it is difficult to know what another person is feeling or thinking. But if you've had a relationship with a person and now you're not sure where you stand, you're not standing in a good spot. I'm just going to tell you that.
And I think a lot of times with relationships is it when it's a no, you're confused. And when it's a yes, you know. Right. And so
Yeah.
even if, let's say, your intuition and your experiences, and even if the person has flat out said that, like, wow, like we have a great connection, like I really enjoy you, I like you, you know, you're a great friend, you're great this, or I wish you're that, but their behavior isn't aligning with that. That's a lot of the times I feel like when people look for signs in tarot card readers.
Yeah.
So what's actually happening is that person's not ready, right? Like even if you do have a great connection, it doesn't mean it's your person, or yet they're your person, right? And why are you waiting, right? Like you still need to go and live your life. And sometimes too, I feel like if you're asking tarot cards instead of the person, like, you know, or maybe like, maybe take that leap of faith, maybe be brave, and maybe like find out. But it's funner and easier and simpler to like ask the universe and get that hit of dopamine, right?
Ooh, Tracy.
Right?
Oh my gosh, that's it, isn't it?
Because if you take that leap, you take that risk, and then it turns out not to work out, now you have to deal with feeling sad and grieving and having loss.
And you have a loss over something that didn't actually even exist.
Right? It's so, I think sometimes when we're looking for signs, we just like living in the opportunity of something.
Yes.
I mean,
my gosh, that gave me chills, Tracy. We like living in the opportunity of something or the possibility of something.
or even just like keeping what it could be in our heads, right?
Yes.
And so many of these things involve other people, and how rarely is it exactly how you picture it, right? No matter whether it's
zero
work or love or, you know, life or kids or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to trust your inner knowing. So like if it's just not going to work out, like let go of the daydream. Like there's, what's that Harry Potter quote, the Dumbledore one, like it does not do to dwell in dreams and forget to live.
Right.
So sometimes when I find myself like consistently seeking out signs for the same thing, and most often it's things that I feel like aren't completely in my control to like just be tenacious and grab it and go for it. It's like, it's not for you. It's not for you, right? Like go share your amazingness with something else. Like, why are you putting all this time and attention to trying to wish it into life? And instead of just taking action and doing something.
Yeah. But okay, why do we do this? Oh my gosh. Well, you hit on it. It's the dopamine hit, and the fact that it's just the possibility of it, is the opportunity is just so the fantasy is always better than the reality.
Yeah. And so you have to, like, let's say like I'm going to bring up relationship, right? Because it's the one I most often see for tarot card. It's always about love, right? Love coming into your life. Let's say you're consistently looking for a sign for a specific person or to take a certain action or something like that. Like I would sit down and do that inner work and reflect or do shadow work. Like, what is it about that person? Like, why am I stuck on that person?
Oh,
Because
I like that.
it's definitely not you like how they make you feel, because you're sitting around asking the universe for signs and getting mad when it doesn't happen, right? So like, what is it about them? What is it about the opportunity? What is it that you're looking for? And then find a way to make that happen with someone else, something else. Update your dating profile, get new friends, start a new activity, or a big thing I'm seeing is like, think of everything you wished they would have said to you, write it down and say it to yourself.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Instead of universe, show me a sign that, Troy still loves me, or Troy loves me, and he just can't tell me, right? Like, why do you want someone to tell you that they love you? Tell yourself that you love you, right? Like,
I love it.
Right.
Yes.
Be your own sign, or even just like a fun thing. Like, let's say you do just kind of like looking for signs, or assigning meaning to the signs that you see. Be like, you know what? If I see 11 a day, it means I am the shit. I am awesome. Like I am amazing and I am wonderful and everybody loves me. And then when you see 11, you get that dopamine hit because this is fun, right? Like it didn't it didn't impact a decision or an action or whether or not somebody feels something towards you or something like that. So I just think it's important to, don't depend on signs, don't lean on them. Definitely, like trust your intuition and look for things because there's magic in the world and that can help.
Thank you for adding that. Yes.
But also be real enough with yourself. Maybe you're digging it too far. Maybe you just live in a neighborhood that has the same license plate. Like you and that person hang out at the same grocery store. You have similar schedules. It's not a sign from the universe. It's your neighbor's license plate. You have to cross those numbers off your list. It can't happen. And then also, a lot of this stuff, around trusting your inner knowing, or some of those things that I shared earlier, stuff that you're avoiding or unsure about, like establish safety nets in your life so that you can take action and it's not terrible if it doesn't work out. And then also, know what you want. And if you don't know, take the time to figure that out.
So important.
Right. Yeah. And then, when it comes to external signs or working with external people on it, or like, does this mean what I think it means or whatever, the friends you have in your life that are gonna queen you and just support you in it. And
also the friends who say, go home now.
Exactly. There was a reason why I texted Amy, and it's not just because she's my magical friend. It's because I knew in that moment I needed someone to one, not judge me, and then two, be like, you could just go home. Just go home. I know where you're at with this, but just go home. And then also set up accountability partners too, so that if there is stuff that you want in your life, you're actively working towards your goals and checking on it, instead of asking the universe, like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing enough? Or why isn't this working out?
The universe is not your accountability partner.
Right? The universe is not your accountability partner. Your intuition is not a toy. So find a friend and be like, gosh, like, here's my dating experiences. Here's what I'm doing. And like, or maybe even hire a coach or a service, or like same with work and stuff like that. Like, have somebody else look at what it is that you're doing and point out maybe where a change could really influence what you want to have happen, become more likely.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing the same thing over and over again.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you so much for that, Tracy. This was great.
Yeah. Monologues by Tracy, apparently.
No, this was wonderful.
I really hesitated. I wanted to be like, if you were looking for your sign, like, don't ask us. Like, the show wasn't your sign. Like, maybe it was, but it wasn't. Like, like we're all about magic and numbers, and like, we hope you found us for a reason. But also, like, here's the message. Here's the context. Okay, That's great.
No, I love it. Okay, everyone, if I can pull it together here. If this episode spoke to your soul, please share it with a friend. And if you have time, give us some love on your preferred platform with a rate, review, and subscribe. You can also reach out to us via Instagram and YouTube under The Brightly Podcast or via email at brightlypodcast@gmail.com.
And with that, we hope you have a bright and beautiful day.